being shared, and it's all of us realizing that we're not alone in this. So I'm a holistic healing practitioner, and if I had to focus on a specialty, it would be on individual and group energetics, and we'll get into how that has played out for me in just a bit. There we go. About 10 years ago, I was very interested in finding out how I could live my life on point, to be in my life's mission, to be on purpose. And it was interesting because all I had to do was to ask Source how that could be. And in the week that followed me asking that question, what I received and what I identified was a program called Dream the Biggest Dream. And it's all about empowering the individual to not only identify what the dream of their life is, but to follow through on it and to actually live that dream. I went on the speaker circuit immediately, and after a couple of events, people started calling me Dr. Dream. Now, inevitably, at every event I go to, people say, yeah, but what's your real name? And it doesn't really matter, because if you remember Dr. Dream, that'll work. But it's all about empowering the individual and empowering the dream. In the last 32 months, I've done 151 group energetic experiences in 96 cities around the world. I have to tell you that I'm really quite proud of that. And what makes it really very exciting for me is that this is what I came here for. The why of my existence is exactly what I'm doing. It's what I'm sharing, and it's how I'm living my life. There's a real energetic that is developed when you find yourself in that position. And it's changed everything for me. So here I find myself at Consciousness Beyond Chemtrails. Not quite the type of conference that I've spoken at before, but my very dear friend John White and his amazing team that he has gathered to put this together, I knew that absolutely I had to be here. In preparing for this, there were many different aspects of what am I going to talk about, how does this work, what are you all coming here for? What kept coming up for me is we've got some of the top leading edge researchers and scientists and whistleblowers, all putting this information out here for us. What came up for me was a little bit of a constriction. I'm very aware of how my body reacts. And I constricted, and I thought, how are we going to be at this conference? How are we going to hear all this information and not slip into a very deep role of being a victim? Because I'm not about victim mentality. Once I broke away from that, it was never to go back to it. And so it became then even more exciting that I was going to be speaking here at this conference, because I realized that my role was to bring an energetic and a sharing that allows you to be empowered and allows you to not be the victim, but allows you to be proactive in your life. And so here I am. And so let's see how we approach that. I'm not going to talk to you about the specifics of chemtrails. I'm not a science person. I'm just embracing how science is now explaining what my heart has always felt, and I love that that's happening. But I'm not here to say shadow government this and this is going on and all of that. That's not my role. So I want to share this Rumi quote, because this is where I'd like us to go right now. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I will meet you there. And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to go to that field right now with me. It's not about right or wrong. It's not about what is happening, the specifics of the chemical makeup, of the reasons why. Okay, we're going to just drop all that. And we're going to meet in this field, so to speak. And we're going to open up ourselves to what is truly possible. And while, except for the complete stopping of chemtrails, you may be thinking after a day and a half here that there are no real solutions. I did get a text message yesterday that suggested surface-to-air missiles, and I said I would mention it today in my presentation. But what I want to talk to you about is what you can do. I'm all about positive activism. Okay? And that's what we're doing here. We're getting the wake-up call. We're getting more information. We're going to be able to talk more knowledgeably about it. We're going to be able to share this with people, help them wake up to it, help them, get loud about it if that's the role they want to play. But really, we need to be empowered, and we need to identify some solutions that can assist us in this process. Dr. Robert O. Becker, in his book, The Body Electric, explains that a person's health can be determined by the frequency of their body. This is the type of research that I've been most interested in the past 20 years. Body frequency, the frequency that we carry. How does it work? What are the factors that play into it? And how can I, because I'm the one in my body, how can I affect it? How can I raise my vibration? So what this takes us to is the concept of a human biofield. What is a biofield? The biofield is a matrix of natural electromagnetic waves that connect cells, tissues, and organs and serves as the main communication network and regulator of life processes, including thinking, running, eating, dreaming, and so forth. We all have a biofield. The biofield is essential to health. I had the honor of meeting Dr. Beverly Rubik, biophysicist, advisory panel member to the National Institutes of Health. Oh, that's a mildly conservative organization, wouldn't you say? And she was instrumental in helping name the biofield in 1994 and in recognizing it as being critical to life. So if you think I'm just up here talking about some new age, whatever, the National Institute of Health, and I think we would all agree that it's quite the conservative and perhaps very controlling organization, has actually attached themselves to the fact that we all have a biofield. It's the energy field around us. Now, disruption of the human biofield, when your biofield is exposed to external stresses, it contracts. You heard me say before when I was thinking about all the information we were going to get at this conference, literally, I was contracting inside, and that was a message to me of how things were to work for me and what my role was to be. The biofield is our first line of defense against environmental stresses, including chemtrails, EMFs, and pollution, and believe me, that's just naming a few. When this field weakens, your body's health is compromised. Okay, this is not a stretch for us. I just want to bring you along. Strengthening, enhancing the biofield. A balanced biofield supplies energy to maintain a healthy state of matter. A strong biofield helps the body cope with stress and thus avoid health problems. Okay, you're following along. I know it's sounding real basic now. Okay, I want to take a minute and I'd like you to close your eyes. And just get comfortable. Take a deep breath. Let it out. Release anything that just doesn't serve you in this moment. Take another deep breath. And just find your breathing rhythm. And with each breath out, just let go of a little bit more. You don't even have to focus on what you're letting go of. Just know that you're letting go and releasing. It feels good. It feels good to breathe with all of you right now. Now, with your eyes closed, I invite you to feel your energy body. Okay, I know you just came back from lunch, so maybe it's not quite what it was right before lunch because we're digesting a little bit, but I want you to feel your energy body, and I invite you to start feeling it expanding, to feel your energy expanding out. And you can do it with each breath. Maybe with each breath in, your field expands out a little bit more. And with each breath out, it just even goes out a little bit more. So everything you're doing is expanding your energy. What you're doing right now is very simple and yet very effective. Okay? It doesn't take a lot to affect change in your field. You don't need to go out and buy a bunch of products. You don't need to go pay for a bunch of self-help seminars and find your guru or anything like that. The answer so often is to just turn within. This is your dream. This is your experience of being here. As much as you may feel as though the rules are being written for you outside of you, it's not. You're in control here, and you're empowered. So just feel that energy. Dr. Terry Friedman, another gentleman that I've had the honor of meeting, in his book, Freedom Through Health, tells us that raising our vibrational frequency aids in restoring health to the body, clarity to the mind, and attunement to the spirit. Step 1, raise your vibrational frequency. You see here this really sort of confused, what maybe at one point was a smiley face. And what we want is to raise our vibrational frequency up here, where it's just, we have really no choice but to smile. And we're going to talk in the rest of this presentation about what tools and what opportunities there are for you to do that. But it's not just about raising your frequency. It's about holding your frequency. It's about holding your vibration. It doesn't do any good to get on the roller coaster of this experience. And believe me, I love roller coasters, and I probably shouldn't say it so much because every once in a while it shows up in my actual emotional experience in life, not just at Magic Mountain or something. But what you want to be able to do is to find those methods that you can raise your frequency, that you can strengthen your biofield. And then how do you hold that so you don't go back to where you were? Now, I love this. This is the Merkaba. We've got a human being in the middle. We have optimum nutrition, hydration, mineralization, energetic medicine, cleansing, and alkalinity. These are all aspects of what it takes to pull our energetic body together. But since this is the visual with the Merkaba, what is a Merkaba? The Merkaba is an electromagnetic energy field. Wow, we've been hearing that already today. Biofield, Merkaba, everyone's tapping into this. That exists around every living thing in the universe. It is the divine light body and is used by highly evolved souls to connect with and travel within higher dimensional realms. All right, this is starting to sound good, isn't it? Because whatever we've heard about 2012 and everything that's going on, we're hearing a lot about dimensional shift, multi-dimensional beings. What does this mean? Pay attention to your Merkaba. When the Merkaba is activated, the individual is in a place of complete protection. I just want to see your faces when I say that. Complete protection. Does that sound good after everything you've been hearing in this conference? Generated by what? By the only force that can conquer anything, and that's the unconditional love of the universe. It is, in essence, an interdimensional vehicle, otherwise known as the vehicle of light. Simply put, the Merkaba is the divine light vehicle used to connect with the higher realms. I invite you, I'm not going to talk anymore about the Merkaba. I invite you to Google it, to research it, to really find out what it means to activate your light body, okay? It's a little bit off tangent right now, but what I want you to know is our Merkaba, which is activating our light body, is going to be an essential step in the process of any dimensional shift that's going to happen for us. Okay, so file it away for later. What we are going to talk about is most of these items around the outside of it. Optimum nutrition. All right, again, this stuff isn't rocket science. Okay, a healthy body needs good nutritional value put into it. okay? And that can be supplements also, but you know what it is to get good food, to get organic produce, to find those places that are really supplying good stuff, to find the local farmers markets, to support your community, and to feed your body as feeding our souls. So optimum nutrition, I think we're all sort of in with that. If you're like me, there are aspects of what you're doing to give your body nutrition that maybe you should adjust. Okay? I mean, we're all that way. I'm a vegetarian, I have vegan leanings, and I have one heck of a sweet tooth. Okay? So, yeah, that's my thing. And I work with it, and I try and find a balance in it. Life without sugar doesn't really appeal to me, so that's certainly not a balance. I know you get it. All right. Hydration. So important. It moistens tissues, such as those in the eyes, mouth, and nose, protects body organs and tissues, helps prevent constipation, dissolve minerals and other nutrients to make them accessible to the body, carries nutrients and oxygen to cells, lessens the burden on the kidneys and liver by flushing out waste products, lubricates the joints, regulates body temperature. Okay, hydration, my friend, is not drinking a soda. Hydration is not drinking a cup of coffee. Okay, hydration is water. And go for the best water you possibly can. We're going to talk about alkalinity in a little bit. We drink only alkaline water, high pH water in our household. And the first week or something, the boys, 13 years old, and they had some headaches, because it's kind of clearing out stuff. But we have in Ventura, and I'm sure you can find it other places, we have a water store that literally sells high pH water. So again, file it away, look into it. It's a really important, good aspect of hydration. If you're not going to do high pH water, please do purified water in one way or another. We're fortunate enough to live in a place with a well, and the water's good and everything like that. Hallelujah, I had that for 7 years, and it was amazing. Now, alkalinity. There are certain foods that are high in alkaline. Here's the thing. Anyone who is sick has fostered a very acidic environment in their system. And a healthy environment is more on the alkaline side. So I just have some graphics here of, strong acids, mild alkaline, strong alkaline, just to sort of start triggering you. Again, I've got an hour and 15 minutes. I'd like to do some Q&A at the end. It's not an opportunity to go deep into these areas, but it's an opportunity to just trigger you into looking more into it for yourself. Robert Tennyson Stevens developed what he called the harmonic scale of emotion. The highest frequency emotions: enthusiasm, love, and joy. And I think you would all agree that fits. The lowest frequency emotions, in order, down to the lowest frequency emotion: pain, anger, fear, grief, apathy. I never thought of unconsciousness as an emotion, but apparently Robert Tennyson Stevens does. And I think what that has to do is really ducking away from your emotions, like just going into sort of an unconscious mode. Risk of disease, the lower frequency emotions. Now, this is a study that I absolutely love. In 1992, Bruce Taino of Taino Technology, a division of Eastern Washington State University in Washington, developed equipment to measure electrical frequency in humans and foods. This equipment was used in a research study at Johns Hopkins University to determine the relationship between frequency and diseases. The results of that study are as follows. We've got frequencies here of single essential oils, but I want to go over here to frequency of people and things. The human brain holds a frequency of between 72 and 90 megahertz. The human body holds an average frequency of 62 to 68 megahertz. When your frequency drops down to 58 megahertz, you're susceptible to cold, and you may have cold symptoms. 57, it's flu symptoms. 55, candida. 52, Epstein-Barr. 42, cancer. Processed and canned food, 0 megahertz. If you're using a microwave, you're killing it all. and you're then eating the carcinogens that it's eating. Do yourself a favor, get rid of your microwave. Fresh produce, up to 15 megahertz. Dry herbs, 12 to 22 megahertz. Fresh herbs, 20 to 27 megahertz. And essential oils, 52 to 320 megahertz. Are you tapping into what I tapped into years ago when I first saw this study? Essential oils got the answer. I mean, nothing else is even getting close to it. Rose oil holds the highest frequency of any oil, 320 megahertz. We've got helichrysum, frankincense, lavender, we've got myrrh, melissa, sandalwood, peppermint. I've got all these oils out here on display, and if you'd like to have an experience with them, please stop by the table sometime today or tomorrow. What this study did, it took everything just a step further. It then gave us the average body organ frequencies. I'm not going to go through and read them, but the important thing is that if you're having an issue with your liver and your liver frequency of 55 to 60 megahertz, then you would look for an oil that would assist your liver and raise the frequency if you were in a situation where your liver was compromised, or challenged. And so it's important for us to have these numbers so we can kind of see how we can work with them. Cup of coffee here. I'm sure a lot of you drink coffee. During the testing, Bruce Taino did, one of the participants' frequency while just holding a cup of coffee dropped from 66 megahertz to 58 megahertz. It dropped 8 megahertz, and they didn't even drink it. Think about that the next time you think about coffee. Okay, it took 3 days for the frequency to return to normal for that person. All right, now, I've got to suggest that I'm pretty sure they didn't go home and meditate. They don't have a yoga practice. They're not doing anything else to raise their frequency. But it's still a statistic that kind of gives us an idea of what happens based on what we're coming into contact with. Another participant drank the coffee. Oh my goodness. His frequency dropped from 66 to 52 megahertz. That's a drop of 14 megahertz. What did we see before? At 52 megahertz, we're now down to Epstein-Barr. We've passed cold, flu, candida, and we're hanging out in the potentiality of getting Epstein-Barr. But get this, here's the solution. After inhaling an essential oil at 75 megahertz or higher, their frequency returned to normal in less than 1 minute. You don't need to give up coffee. But you need to take a look at your life and say, what is it that I'm doing that maybe I'm not so interested in giving up, but it's lowering my frequency. It's lowering my energy. It's keeping me from being consistently at my peak level of being an embodied human. And only you can answer that for yourself. Okay, I've had times in my life that I've smoked cigarettes. Earlier this year, for 2 months, I smoked cigarettes. I will tell you something. I never once referred to a cigarette as a cancer stick. I never once said that smoking a cigarette was bad for me. I would light a cigarette, and my caveman self was so pleased to be harnessing fire. It's a primordial thing. All right, I'm Dr. Dream, but maybe I'm a little bit of a spin doctor. But I call these Jedi mind tricks. Because if you're going to smoke cigarettes, or you're going to drink coffee, or you're going to do drugs or alcohol or any other addiction that you're currently still playing out, and you are putting the spin on it that it's bad for you, it's 10 times worse than it is if you were in balanced alignment with it. Okay? That's the way I am with sugar. It's the way I was with cigarettes. Yeah, I knew I wasn't going to smoke for too long, but every time I lit that cigarette and my caveman got all primordial on me, and I was like, oh, it's just releasing some stress. This is awfully nice. Well, I turned the energy into an energy that was serving me. I'm sure some of you disagree with this. All I can tell you is how it works for me. And I think that you would agree that if you are telling yourself you're doing something bad and you continue to do it, you are seriously, seriously undermining yourself. Okay? So, maybe you're telling yourself cigarettes are bad and you can't possibly do the spin doctor thing to make cigarettes good. Well, then, you know what? It's probably time to quit. all right? We're more than halfway through 2012. This is the year, all right? It's okay to drop stuff. Wherever we're headed from here, it's like going through airport security. There's some things you just can't take with you, okay? So start figuring it out now so you're not in the line and I'm behind you and you got too much stuff flying all over the place. While holding a cigarette, another subject's frequency dropped from 65 megahertz to 48. That's a 17 megahertz drop. Smoking the cigarette, his frequency dropped to 42 megahertz. What was that? That's the same frequency as cancer. Wow, imagine that. Essential oils in the higher frequency range tend to influence the emotions. Essential oils in the lower frequencies have more effect on structural and physical changes, including cells, hormones, bones, as well as viruses, bacteria, and fungi. We have a product out here that's a chemtrail protection spray. The oils that are in there are not the higher frequency oils. They're a little bit of the lower frequency oils. And the reason is what we just read, but also essential oils do not resonate with the toxins in our bodies. This incompatibility is what helps eliminate the toxins from our systems. So essential oils also do not resonate with negative emotions, allowing us a greater opportunity to release them. So this morning I was sitting out there at the booth and I had gotten a text message from a very good friend of mine in Michigan. And it said, Nino, please pray for him. He is on his way, he has left to go sing. And this was from his sister, and I called her, and sure enough, my very good friend, Tony Mamina, Nino, transitioned last night in Michigan. And I was sharing this with Cece out there because she had heard that I was affected by it, and I began to cry. And I like slipping into my emotional body. I like when something moves me, okay? It reminds me of just how alive I really am and how much I care. You know, I wouldn't have been, I know that no one dies. I know that the energy of Tony Mamina did not die last night. His physical body, in his sleep, such a blessing, left last night. My tears are not about that he's dead and that's the end of the line. My tears were that this person shared so much love and was such a fine person in my life that it just brought up this emotion. And then the speaker stopped and people started coming out. I'm like, oh, Cece, I got to talk to people about essential oils. And she said, let's breathe one. I'm like, oh, okay, great idea. You know, even me, I'm like, oh, yeah, that would have done it. And so we took Elevation out. Sounded like a good one for the moment. And I got tears still running down my face. I took one inhalation of this Elevation oil. I was right out of it. It popped me right out of where I was settling in to have an emotional experience. Okay? It's that quick. If any of you have children, I've had my daughter, she's 12 now, and she doesn't do this anymore, but she was probably about 7 years old, 6 years old, and something didn't go her way. She's not spoiled that way, but something, she was tired and whatnot, and she ended up in this place like kids doing their and getting all worked up, and she's crying. I took some rose oil, put it on my hand, put it up to her face. She stopped crying with the first inhalation. We always do 6. By the third one, she was laughing. It's that quick. So I don't want you to believe anything I say. I want you to like what I say enough that you want to give yourself an experience of it. Because you're not going to believe anything unless you have an experience of it. If you would just, believe anything I say up here, I'd do a whole different presentation. But the truth is that what I'm about is to share with you what's possible. And the only reason I know something is possible is because I've experienced it. And the only reason you're going to know it's possible is to experience it also. Thoughts also influence our frequency. How do you like that picture up there? We got frantic, we got mad. I can't read the others, but I'm sure they're just as devastating. Negative thoughts lowered the frequency by 12 megahertz. Okay, again, people, that's putting us down to where we can get sick like that. Positive thoughts raised the frequency by 15 megahertz. So again, if you are so tapped in to what's going on in your mind, where your emotional body is, when you start to experience your negative thought, and I know it right away because I'm constricting, normally I know it right away because it's negative also, you can turn that right around. Your positive thought doesn't need to have anything to do with your negative thought. Okay, so if you're hanging out and you're listening to someone and they're talking about chemtrails and it's getting really damn heavy, and you're like in this negative thing and you feel your frequency just dropping, you don't have to come up with a positive thought about chemtrails. Okay? All you need to do in that moment is think about the best vacation you've ever had. Possibly look at your significant other and squeeze their hand. That's going to create a positive response. You don't need to shift what you just went through about chemtrails. You just need to attach yourself to something that's positive and that will bring up your frequency. And it is truly that easy. I think of my daughter, Maya. I think of vacations we've had. I think of Laura Eisenhower, my Sacred Union partner, and it's that easy. Don't take my word for it, but play the game with it and see if you can have an experience that makes it that same way. Nikola Tesla. If you wish to understand the universe, think of energy, frequency, and vibration. Tesla said if you could eliminate certain outside frequencies that interfered in our bodies, we would have greater resistance to disease. Okay, I mean, it just goes without saying, but this goes back a number of years, and people are getting what is going on, and they've been giving us messages about it. And so it's up to us then to say, wow, frequency, energy, what does that mean to me? Okay? And again, this isn't a new age thing. This is a now thing. We're all energy. We're all about frequency. We live in an environment that is stressing us to the max. And I personally believe it's just the tip of the iceberg. Okay? So we're not going to stop all the things coming down the pipeline that are going to be affecting our biofields, that are going to be affecting our energetic bodies. But the one thing that we can do is we can strengthen our energetic body. We can strengthen our biofield. And when you do that, nothing can penetrate it. We saw about the Merkaba, complete protection. Okay? Do you know that the love that you have within you, and this is what we're all here for, is to experience this experience as unconditional love, to move into that space with nothing else, no fear or anything else. Do you know that nothing can get in the way of that energy? And I need you to really own this and really attach yourself to this. No shadow government, no Illuminati, no bad ETs or anything else can get in the way when you are so connected to the universal love that you are, to the unconditional. See, I've taken it a step further. We started doing these galactivation experiences, 151 all over the world, and one night 2 years ago in San Jose, we did an experience. It was an unusual one for us. Everyone was over 65 except one person, and normally everyone's like in their 20s. So it was a little bit unusual, but it was a great experience, and I traveled with what I call my angels, and I had one angel with me, an actual human in form, that I just call an angel, and they helped facilitate the experiences. We tried to drive to San Francisco that night, and I had to pull over. And I said, Ilya, I can't drive right now. I don't know what's going on. We started talking about the experience, and we had always called them unconditional love activations. And we said, something shifted tonight, something changed. And we had to call it something else, because unconditional love, if you can believe it, was falling short. Universal love is what we came up with. And then it wasn't an activation anymore, it was a galactivation. But so I talk a lot about this universal love. And this is the love that is the offshoot, or maybe the umbrella of unconditional love. It is fully the all-encompassing, entire universe, multidimensional love, and I call it universal love. Dr. Royal Raymond Rife, born in May 16, 1888, transitioned August 5, 1971. Rife developed a microscope that they called the Rife microscope, and it was very, very powerful. This was in the 1920s. No microscope had ever been invented that was as powerful as this one. And you can see him there with his microscope. And what he was able to see was the actual diseased cells. And then he started working with them with frequencies because he built this beam ray machine, which is a frequency generator. And Dr. Rife had amazing, amazing success. There were medical facilities he was in San Diego, there were medical facilities in Los Angeles sending patients to him. 1,000 patients with cancer cured in the 1920s, 1930s with this frequency generator. The point being that even diseases hold a frequency, and that then it can be combated with other frequencies. Dread disease germs destroyed by rays, claim of San Diego scientist. Cancer blow seen after 18-year toil by Rife. Well, this got him quite a bit of attention. And the government came in. They wanted all of his papers. They wanted the device. He would not sell it. Office was ransacked. All the papers stolen. The device trashed. He died penniless and really a broken man. But today there is a resurgence, and there has been in the last 12 years probably, in the Rife frequencies and devices that are based on those frequencies. I have been working with a Rife device for the last 5 or 6 years. Tremendous results, tumors, all sorts of things. We also run emotional frequencies, unconditional love and understanding. We've been able to intuit different frequencies that then build our emotions up. So we use this Rife device quite a bit. Several people in the last 6 years have gone to jail that have companies that sell Rife devices because they made claims that it can work with cancer and this, that, and the other. There are protocols that we are developing right now for chemtrails, for Morgellons, and all sorts of other things. The Rife community is a very open community. As people are identifying frequencies that are working for these different diseases and these different ailments, they're posting them online, so we all have access to them. And it's really very important. So file it away, Rife frequencies, search it later. And by the way, I'm here all weekend, and I have a cell phone, so you can call me anytime if you want to talk about any of this stuff. I mean, I said it before, this is what I'm here for. This is the why of my existence. Don't think you're getting in the way because you want to know about Rife frequencies. And don't think I need to charge you every time you call me. It's not about that, okay? We're here to be in service for each other. We're here to assist each other. And all I want to do is share the gifts I have to share, and all I want you to do is share the gifts you have to share. This is my Rife device. I would have had it here today, but we sent it. We're opening a new office in Ventura. Actually, we opened it soft opening this week because someone wanted to come up from Los Angeles for an appointment. But I had sent my Rife device to Hawaii because we hadn't had an office before, so we always traveled with it, and it needed to be recalibrated. It'll be back next week. David Hawkins wrote a book called Power versus Force. I find it to be a very fascinating book. The book presents the results of millions of tests conducted on thousands of subjects over a period of 20 years. This testing has proved to be replicable and so meets the basic requirements of scientific inquiry. Using kinesiology testing, muscle testing, the author has created a map of human consciousness. How many people know about Hawkins and Power versus Force? All right, good. I like that. The test space was the totality of human experience throughout all time. He developed a logarithmic scale of consciousness against which things can be calibrated, with 1 being the lowest possible state of consciousness and 1,000 representing the highest possible state of human consciousness achievable. It could be 1 and 10. It doesn't matter. The numbers are arbitrary. It's just how the scale works and the logarithm of it. So here's the map of human consciousness, and look at the level where it says level, the yellow row in the middle. Let's start at the bottom. At 20, a calibration of 20 is shame, 30 is guilt, 60 is apathy, 75 is grief, 75 is fear, 125 is desire, 150 is anger, 175 is pride, and 200 is courage. After that, we start moving into power. Okay? And he talks about the difference in all aspects of our human experience, the difference between force and power. We want to be in a place of power. We want to be empowered. But think about it. Do you really want to force something to make it happen? I've done it plenty of times in my past, and it never worked out right. So, power is where it's at. The latest calibration statistics are that 78% of the population is at 200 or less. In 2005, 82% was at 200 or less. So it's gotten a little bit better. Let's talk about what that means. The destructive capacity of this majority, the 78%, would annihilate mankind without the counterbalancing effect of the 22% that is above 200. Because the scale of consciousness is logarithmic, each incremental point represents a giant leap in power. As such, one person calibrated at 600 counterbalances the negativity of 10 million people below 200. Okay? So what we see here is nothing to freak out about. Like, oh my God, 78% of the population is still holding on to this force thing? No. It's much better prognosis than what it looks like on the surface. The second great barrier is level 500, which is love. Love in this context is a way of being in the world, not an emotionality as most of us perceive it. According to Dr. Hawkins, the reason the level of love is so difficult to achieve is because our ego is so rooted in the physical domain as opposed to the spiritual domain, which emerges at 500. The 400s represent the level of reason, guided by the linear, mechanistic world of form, our modern society that includes advancements in medicine, science, government, etc. Interestingly, the top echelon of intellectual genius, including Einstein, Freud, Newton, Aristotle, etc., all calibrated at around 499. They couldn't make it into love, but they did great things for us. The 500s represent a very difficult hurdle, as only 4% of the world's population calibrates in the 500s. This level denotes a shift from the linear, a shift from the provable domain, classic physics or Newtonian physics, to the nonlinear, formless, spiritual realm. Okay, you all can fight this as much as you want. You all can have your ego stand up and say, no, this is a bunch of baloney. This isn't what it's about, okay? But realize that this is what it's about, okay? And maybe we wouldn't have said this 50 years ago. I'm pretty sure we wouldn't have said this 50 years ago. But right now, in 2012, we're heading to December 21st. I mean, I don't really know what's going to happen, but I got a feeling something's going to happen. Something's been happening all year long. It's about moving into these higher frequencies, moving into these higher calibrations, and really what it does is it brings our focus back to what's really going on inside me. Okay? We have been so distracted in our society to not look inside, to pay attention to everything outside of us. And then, ego says, no, you don't want to hang out and have a conversation tonight. Why don't you all watch TV or do something else? And then we continue to distract ourselves from the real work that needs to be done right now. And the real work that needs to be done right now is within each of us. And that work needs to be done by the individual. So much to take care of her. And at this point, she's really reaching out and asking for us to step into that role. So whatever it is you can do, whatever lifestyle changes, whatever makes sense for the sustainability of this planet, for our children and our children's children and 7 generations down the road, think about that. Because it's been a pretty beautiful experience for us here. I'll tell you something about the collective. When enough of us wake up, when enough of us are in our conscious awareness and in our heart, All it's going to take is focused attention to clean the skies and clean the water and everything else. And you can tell me I'm full of it, but I'm not. We have it available to us. So if you've got groups where you live and there's 10 or 15 of you that can get together each week and share energy and share stories and raise each other's vibration and send out energy to the rest of the planet, assisting everyone else to wake up and become aware and to find their heart space, please do it. Please get together and have fun. We're going to be doing something weekly in Ventura on Wednesday nights from 7 to 8:30. It's just an opportunity to get together and share our humanity and share our love and make a difference, because anytime, more than two of us get together, it's this exponential energy that goes out. We have to believe. Your belief system is guiding everything that you're experiencing. If you believe that chemtrails are the absolute demonic device of the worst people on this planet, you're going to have an experience that is going to validate that for you, okay? That may not be the experience you really want to have. So please watch what energy you hold about anything and try and hold it in a way that lifts it up instead of brings you down. And you'll know because you'll feel it. So find those opportunities to believe. And if you're having trouble, my cell phone number is on my card and you give me a call, I will assist you in finding the belief that serves you most. Because where we're headed from here is absolutely mind-blowing. I don't think any of us are really ready for it, and yet it's going to be upon us at some point. And there's going to be nothing more beautiful than that. And everything we've had to deal with in this very heavy 3D reality isn't going to matter anymore. So let's just get through this. Let's raise our frequency. Why? Because we can. Because that's empowerment. Because that changes the game. We're no longer a pawn. You got a strong biofield, you're no longer a pawn. Okay? That's where we want to head. I'm all about universal love. This is what we do, this is what we share, and I'm just honored to be a part of this conference, to be here with you today. I really want to thank John White and Cece and the entire team, all the technical people. I want to thank all the vendors that are here, and I want to thank you guys for showing up, okay? This is what's making it work, and you've got it. We've got it here, and we can take it, and we're going to take it the distance, whatever that means, but we're going to come out on the other side.